every time you went out as in the back of your mind, you could get killed.
Yeah.
It's high chances on that job. There are a few times in my whole career where I've gone, you fucking idiot.
You've worked alongside people like Michael Jackson, Kendall Jenner.
Yeah. I felt exactly the same as I felt when I was in Iraq,
yeah.
but without the stress of being killed.
Welcome, Simon. Thank you for being here, pal.
Hello, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Mate, you have got one resume, but I think I don't want to spoil too much at the beginning. So for me, we like to start at the beginning of a lot of people's journeys, their stories. Where did it start for you?
I lived in Eastbourne. I was born in Eastbourne, down south coast. A lot of people don't know it. A lot of people don't know where Eastbourne is, but it's just along the coast from Brighton. Not a lot going on down there. Nice place, clean, tidy, right by the sea. But yeah, there's not a lot going on down there really. I had a normal upbringing, state school. Not from I'm not from a sort of an affluent background or anything like that. Wasn't poor neither. But my father was a firefighter. My mum had various jobs, bringing me and my sister up. So I had quite a normal childhood, if you like. I was in the Army Cadets when I was a kid. Kind of, you could argue that's where it all started.
Nice.
Yeah, so I was there till.
Was that you that had a passion for getting into that, or was that dad like?
My dad had an involvement with it anyway. He was an adult instructor.
Oh, okay.
So I guess I can't really remember now because it's a long time ago. But I know I remember a few occasions where he'd take me along before I was, when I was a lot younger,
right, to
certain things. He could take me along, open days or whatever. And I think that's probably where I sort of started saying possibly, I want to do this.
Yeah, brilliant.
So when I was 12 or 13, I started that. Loved it, and kind of all my friends were in the cadets, Army Cadets. I hung around outside of school with Army Cadet friends more than I did my friends at school.
Right.
So I kind of took to the military life a little bit, if you like. And then I got a job. I got a job at a fair, working at a fair, just as a bear. And I did that for on and off for a little while.
Got to make your money somehow.
Yeah,
right?
and actually I loved that job.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's just if it paid a bit more, I might still be there now. Do you know what I mean? But it was a good job that. So I did that for a while, and then I wanted to join the army. Couldn't get in the army because I was big. I used to be quite big, like overweight.
What's overweight?
What was I in stone? Can't remember, but I was something like I had like a 44-inch waist.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember that much. Yeah.
Looking great.
Yeah, I've changed a bit now. So when you join it, I think it's slightly different now. But when you joined the army back then, your BMI was done on your height and weight.
Right.
I think now if you're sort of a muscular person, so you're overweight but clearly not obese, they change how they measure you. Yeah,
right.
But back then it was height and weight. I need to be about like 14 foot tall to get in at my weight. Do you know what I mean? So I didn't get in. Anyway, I got an engineering apprenticeship in mechanical engineering.
Oh, right.
And all my cadet friends all joined the army. I had a couple of other friends as well in Eastbourne that weren't cadets, but they joined the army as well. Right. And I was like, I want to join the army.
You're quite determined to.
Yeah, I know one of the lads, he's in parachute regiment. He just come back from Northern Ireland. I think he was 18 years old, and he had a chest on him, and he'd been in the gym, and he had loads of money in the bank because he'd just done a 6-month tour with nothing to spend it on.
Yeah,
loads of time in the gym because you can't go out over there. He had a month off as well because he'd just done 6 months, so he had a month at home. So he was out every night of the week, enjoying himself. Yeah, and I was in this factory, and I just thought, and I hadn't seen that side of what the military can, or allow you to do as well, sort of thing. I only just thought of being a soldier, and I thought, shit, this is good. I don't want to be in a factory every morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. And as time went on, I just started getting fit, but not for the military. I just started getting fit anyway.
Right, that was a bit of a wake up.
Yeah, I just started getting fit, started slowly losing weight. And then I got to a stage where I was quite fit and healthy. And I don't know why, but I just suddenly thought, actually, you can go and join you better get in now.
Can you remember how much you would have had to have lost?
I went from something like
Yeah.
I must have been near 20 stone.
Really?
So I went down to nearly 13
Wow,
and a half.
that's impressive.
Yeah, and I did it really quick. I think a lot of people said you wouldn't keep it off because how quick I did it, but I did. I just kept it off. Made sure I kept it off. If I ever started putting a bit more on, I just took it off again.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I actually joined reserves first. I joined Eastbourne. Used to be Royal Signals in Eastbourne. Royal Signals wasn't really my sort of choice. If you join a reserve unit,
Right.
you have to go to whatever's there. So you can travel further to another one if there's something relatively local, but normally you go to what's in your local town or somewhere near it. So I started off in the Signals, but I knew I didn't want to be part time. I didn't want to, because I didn't want to do the job I was doing anymore, and I wanted to be in the army. So very quickly, I got a attachment to the regular army, where after that I was just in the regular army till the end.
Yeah,
I went across. So I got posted out to Canada. I did just over a year in Canada. I then I did the end of the Iraq War, 2003.
Wow, did you? What was that like?
Yeah, it was good. Really enjoyed myself. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's a place to enjoy yourself, but
did you see a lot over there when you was over there, or like was it quite a messy situation?
Yeah, it weren't too bad. I got there at the end of the war fighting part, but so we just started the Iraqi reconstruction phase. But that's when a lot of the sort of nasty attacks started happening. I think we all thought it was going to be a fairly sort of easy build back up and everyone's going to be happy about it, and they weren't. You know what I mean? So a lot of guys over the years subsequently after the war obviously got killed, but it was rough period of time. Not so bad when I was there with the army. To be fair, some of the later operations, the guys had it a lot worse than what we did. But
yeah, I could imagine.
Yeah, no, it's I enjoyed that. But when I was in the army, then I got offered to do a selection for a unit called 473 Battery, which is sort of surveillance and target acquisition. Right. In Catterick at the time. They were based in Catterick, and we was working with them in Iraq. I was Signals, but we was attached working with them in Iraq, and because of that, obviously I've got to see what they did and what they got up to and everything else. And me and a friend of mine said about can we transfer,
get involved?
Yeah, and they said we had another selection course not long after when we finished in Iraq. So I thought, well, I was quite pleased with that, because I'd just been posted to Catterick and I would have stayed up there and stayed with them. But at the same time, I had a friend who come out with one of the first sort of private security companies, and I bumped into him at Basra Air Station, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" So I'm out with the army. "What are you doing with the army?" He said, he's private security and this money and these weapons and
really
this
selling it.
Yeah, the vehicles and the accommodation they had and all this stuff. I was like, so I spoke to my other mate I was going to sort of do the course with, and he's like, well, it's up to you. Anyway, I went to see a sergeant major and I said, look, this is what I want to do. And basically, mate, what he said to me originally is have a 2 year leave of absence.
Okay.
Because I was still quite young. I was only 23 at the time.
Oh, is that how young you were?
Yeah, buy yourself a house, and then you can come back and still go on selection for 473 as well, because I'll still be young enough, still be fit enough and keen enough as a soldier. And that's what I originally thought I was going to do. So I didn't really want to leave the military. I liked it, but I hadn't done that long in it.
So how old were you when you started there in the military?
1920, so I'd only done just nearly 4 years by the time I got out.
Is that what it was?
So if it weren't for that job, I would have stayed in 100%. Do you know what I mean? I loved it. And that's what I thought I was going to do, go back. But
what did you like about it the most?
I liked soldiering. I liked being a soldier. Not the bullshit part of it. I don't think anyone likes that particularly. But, getting out in the field and actually doing the job. I like the camaraderie is great, so every day I remember. I don't think there was a day I wasn't laughing, even if it was days I was in pain or
you're always
still happy about it.
When you say like the bullshit, is that like political side or like all the deaths obviously going on?
Yeah, I mean there's tons of ways, tons of negatives. The army's changed now to what it was. Like everybody says, wasn't like that in my day, but do you know what I mean? It has changed a lot. So I can't really comment on it today because I don't know what it's like. But back then, One of the biggest things in the army was saying was hurry up and wait. You know, you'd wait around all day doing nothing, and all of a sudden it's all go, 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 go. It happens all the time. But one of the things I liked was that you didn't know what you was doing. You know, really, you didn't know what you was doing from one day to the next, and you could be in one country and another country, or you could just be in the UK. And I liked being moved around and doing different things.
Variety of it all.
Yeah. So that was good for me. But subsequently, I took the private security job. Which led to me leaving my career of being a soldier, really.
Did you? Yeah.
And within a month, I was back out in Iraq as a private security contractor.
Is that where it started, over there?
So private security for me started that day, yeah. And that led from Iraq for a few years, and then Afghanistan for a couple of years, and then obviously...
And the type of work you was doing, was it all... It was like security work out in these... And what would you be protecting?
So I worked on the South Ramallah oil fields in Iraq for a company called KBR, which is an American oil company.
Wow.
We were looking after the oil workers there, who were working at all the wells at the time.
What was it? Was it quite was it quite messy over there?
So that job, not particularly down in the south at the time. There was a few incidents, but it wasn't particularly bad. When I finished that, I moved up north to Baghdad, which was a lot more messy.
Was it?
Yeah, it's a lot more active up there. And then that still on the same contract, but for the same company in Baghdad. And then I left and I went on to a convoy contract, which was where I was looking after kit and equipment and not people.
Oh, okay.
And that's for the Japanese government. And that was messy.
Was it?
Yeah, we used to get hit all the time on that.
Who would be trying to...
Just the insurgency would always just try and take you out all the time.
They?
Yeah, and because it's kit and equipment, we always had to go and pick up, because if the kit and equipment come across the border and we didn't pick it up, it would get stolen. So even if sort of certain areas of Iraq was on lockdown to Westerners because it's too dangerous to move, we'd still have to go out. We'd still have to get down to the borders of Iraq and pick this stuff up. So you got hit quite a lot. The other thing was he's always bringing in large articulated lorries, or I brought in for the Japanese contract, it was big electricity substations we was bringing in, which only can move something like 6 or 7k an hour or something stupid. Yeah, it was going real. And we had to use all the main supply routes as well. We couldn't come off any side streets, any sort of scud tracks or anything we could, could really use anything. All the tricks you'd normally use are all gone out the window. So you got hit a lot on that. A lot of guys got killed on that job.
Believable. Did you ever have any close calls?
Yeah, I mean, we got IED quite a lot of times. I can't really remember how many times. It wasn't hundreds, but it was, it was enough to say it was quite a few. Small arms. I didn't get anything really bad. I didn't get anything where it wiped the whole... I mean, the company who had the contract before us, they lost a couple of whole teams. One of them got taken hostage.
Whole teams?
Yeah, he got taken. So they lost the contract because because it was just too dangerous for them. And the company I was working for, they took it over, but we had different kit and equipment.
Right.
Slightly stronger, if you want to call it.
Yeah, is that what
better,
it is?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the vehicles of the other company were using soft skin vehicles, like normal vehicles we'd use here in London. Right, we had armoured vehicles, which still didn't always save us, obviously, but it was far better. Yeah. So we survivability was slightly better.
What's that, a budget thing or something? Why?
Don't know. I think at the time
they didn't realise the risk of it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and as it ramped up over time, it just became apparent that stuff like that wasn't going to be weren't enough acceptable. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they'd done anything particularly wrong to start with. What they should have done, if you want to look at it from a business point of view, maybe is gone and bought a load of armoured vehicles and carried on.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They lost it. And the company that had armoured vehicles took the job.
Oh, right.
Yeah. But, I mean, that was what it was. But when I finished that job, that's when I went to Afghanistan after that for about 2 years with the Foreign Commonwealth Office. We looked after HMRC officers, UK HMRC officers who were training mentoring the Afghan drugs police out in Afghanistan. So we used to fly up and down the whole of the country, doing all the airports. All the cities had what we call city gate checkpoints, where main sort of supply routes for vehicles coming in and out. So they had checkpoints on them. It was all drug related.
Wow, right. And
yeah,
what was that
opium.
like?
So, yeah, that's good. That's good fun. That's a good job. Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed that. We used to have a plane, so we used to drive on the plane in the vehicles, driving onto the back of the plane, fly off for the day, and go and do a visit and that. Yeah, it was good. It was a good job. That was
More civilized compared to
it was just as dangerous, but we didn't get as much action. And the thing was as well is if there was a real red area, where it just is no go for Westerners, we wouldn't go because we was looking after people. So if we visited a city gate checkpoint, if we had a visit scheduled on a Monday and it's just that area just had a big tear up that night before and loads of people killed, we just wouldn't go the next day. Right. On the convoys, we would have still been going down there that day to go to the thing. So it was a lot more, you might get longer periods of lockdown where you're locked in camp, if you like, and you can't go out, but it's all for everyone's safety. But it was a good job, yeah. It was a good job, that one.
So it's quite funny how you say, it's good fun and stuff like that, but you're also like risking your life at the same time. Did that not ever like bother you? Wasn't that you obviously really enjoyed it, right? And you had a good time doing it, but when you're putting your life on the line at the same time, didn't that cross your mind that is it worth it, sort of thing?
A few times. You don't think like that every day. If you think like that every day, then you probably wouldn't do it. There's no point. And you've got to be suited to it. You either enjoy it or you don't. And there was some people that loved it, some people that enjoyed it, but there wasn't really anyone who took it or leave it or didn't like it. Because those people just weren't there.
Fair.
So.
Do you get accustomed to it over time?
Yeah,
you do. What happens
You do. Yeah. I mean, so on the convoys, you always every time you went out, it was in the back of your mind you could get killed.
Yeah,
it's high chances on that job. But then I always had the added bonus of not having to worry about anyone else. So because we wasn't looking after people, kit equipment, so I could forget about them. That didn't matter. But in Afghanistan, obviously, you're not only looking after yourself, you're looking after other people as well. So there are a few times in my whole career where I've gone, you fucking idiot. You know what I mean? You got yourself into this. You can't blame anyone else. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? All these years you wanted to be a soldier, or you wanted to do this and you wanted to do that. There's a few times I've been in those moments. Yeah, I thought, you've overstepped the mark on this one. Yeah, I've been lucky enough I'm still here, but there's a few, 3 or 4 times, which is a lot really in a lifetime. You don't really want it once if you can help it.
Yeah, that's right. So what happened for you after Afghanistan?
So I was working out there for quite a while, and I just got fed up of being away because I started that job so early, like when I was 23, 24. All my early life, I've been working in shitholes. Had a lot of money, but I hadn't experienced anything as being a young lad, if you like, going out, lads' holidays, your Saturday night routine of going out and having a drink. I haven't really done any of that.
And when you said you had a lot of money, is that... Because from what I've always understood, the army hasn't paid.
The army didn't, but money come from private security.
Oh yeah,
the money for that was
that was obviously good money, but you weren't really going out too much either. So.
No, and I was a non-resident of the UK at the time because I wasn't here enough to pay tax. So so I was a non-taxpayer, I had offshore bank account, and everything. So every penny, but. We didn't really make much money by not paying tax, to be honest with you, but we made more money by not spending anything.
Yeah, 100%.
That's where the money was.
Working most of the time.
Because you just wasn't. Yeah, food was already paid for. No accommodation fees. Everything was paid for really. So that's where you made your money.
Fair. And you felt like you was missing out at this point.
Yeah, and I thought I want to move on a bit here, and get out. I've just fed up of being away. Every time I was getting back on the plane, I was thinking, oh God, I've got to do another 9 weeks now or whatever. And I always said to myself, when I start feeling like that in anything in life, it's time to move. Not necessarily instantly. Don't cut your nose off to spite your face, but start looking at what
it's a good insight though, isn't it?
Yeah, start looking at what you want to do next. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And there's an older guy on the team, Sam, good friend of mine, and I said to him a few times about working in London, and I said, Sam, I want to go home, but I'm not sure what to do. And I said, I thought about prison service, but I'm thinking, because I want to be a PTI possibly in the prison gym. And that was all changing back then. And I looked into it, and I thought, I don't think I really want to do. Police was another one who weren't really keen on, that. I got offered a sort of a bit of an in with Sussex Police at Yankee Terrace at Gatwick. Quite keen on sort of getting me in at one stage, and I had an informal chat with someone about that, and I just thought it was all right until the money actually, because I still lived in Eastbourne at the time. I didn't live in London then, so I was thinking Gatwick's not far from Eastbourne, straight down the M23. And I said to him, I don't really want to do it. And he said, why don't you do bodyguard work in London? You've always spoke about that. And I thought, yeah, I suppose I have. And I thought, do you know what? That is something I can go back to do. So I did. I left. It's difficult to start with because you're very much always on a job interview.
Is that what it was like?
If you do a 2-day, I think a little bit of misconception. A lot of people think you work for a company and you have a bodyguard. You don't. You work for tens of different companies.
Just move around.
Yeah. To wherever the work is. You're freelancer. You're self-employed, and you could go and do a job, and you could have an interview for what might be a 2-day job.
Right. Well, wow.
You go and do a 2-day job, and you're now looking for another job again. Yeah. And looking for a job is exactly the same as looking for a full-time job.
So I suppose the only good thing is you're a bit there's a bit more flexibility there where you can pick and choose a little bit yourself.
You can, and obviously the idea is the more you work and build up, and the same companies do call you back, the same people do call you back. So if you do a good job, then you start plotting in your work to make a full week, then to try and make a full month, and then as time goes on, you end up turning work down because you're too busy.
Yeah, and that's which is probably a nice place to be in because
you can pick and choose a bit more as well.
Yeah, there's some people you probably don't even want to work for.
No, exactly. Ways, yeah, you can pick and choose a lot more. And so I went about. I started with Dubai Royal Family. I did 2 summers with them. It worked out nearly 8 months of the year actually.
Wow.
So that's how I started. And then at the end of my second year with them, I started the private security company, Askari Secure.
Your own firm?
Yeah, which is obviously still operating today. Where, I kept getting asked for different people doing different things, and I couldn't get there myself. I've been in London for nearly 2 years by then, so I kind of knew the scene a little bit.
Because obviously when we were doing research, you've worked alongside people like Michael Jackson, Kendall Jenner, Bella Hadid.
So Michael Jackson, actually, that happened. I was working in Afghanistan at the time.
Oh, were you?
And I'd just come home on leave for 4 weeks off. And I'd just gone up to Edinburgh because a mate I was working with in Afghan had the same leave pattern as me. And he was Scottish. He said, come up to Edinburgh, because I think at the time I'd never been up there. We'll have a few nights out. So I said, all right, let's do that. Back then I was always... I'll get a nosebleed coming here today, but back then I used to all over the world. The whole world was my playground, you know what I mean? And I was not bothered about the hours of flying, nothing now. I can't be asked to do anything. So I went up there and someone called me and said, will you come to London on Friday or whatever day it was and look after a businessman who's coming to London for a week. And I thought, I don't really want to do that, I've only got 4 weeks off, so I don't really want to spend a week. And I'm in Edinburgh, so I'm not even in London. I said, no. So I said, you sure? I said, yeah, no, I won't do it, but thanks. So anyway, I said to my mate about it. And he said, it might have been worth a look, though, because you haven't worked in London yet, and you said you want to do it one day. I said, I know, but, I'm at your house, and I feel a bit bad, and I don't... He said, well, it's up to you. Anyway, the guy rang me back again. He said they put the money up on the job. Because of what my mate just said to me as well, and he wasn't going to feel bad if I'd gone back down. I said, all right, and I'll do it. So I got back down. I missed my flight on the way back down because we still made the most of the night before. And I had to buy all new clothes, suit, shirt, out of the packet, shoe. I had to buy everything. So I didn't have time to get back down to Eastbourne to get back to London. So
a load of brand new stuff.
Yeah, so I had to go straight to London, get all my kit from the shop. Go to, I think it...
obviously paid that well then.
Well, I was hoping it was going to. I can't remember if it's Luton or Stansted, where the Harrods terminal is. I can't remember which one it is now. I used to know things like that all the time. I'm a bit out of touch now. But we went to that, whatever airport that was. I went to a hotel just outside of it. I got changed in the bathroom there, and then we sat in this room where I was told to meet people. There's a few of us in there, and then we got given a document that had Michael Jackson on the front of it.
Oh, so you didn't even know
until that day, I didn't know. I kept it quite quiet because I think at the time he hadn't been in for quite a while, and they knew it was going to be a massive thing when he was here. So I wanted to just keep the build up to it as quiet as possible, which worked for until he literally stepped off the plane, really.
Yeah.
So all hell broke.
Is that quite standard practice in your field? Or?
We try to do that.
Yeah, keep it.
It's just easier.
And then, the word don't get about.
You're not hiding them as such, but just certainly pick up and drop offs and things like that. It makes it all a lot easier. When you first turn up at a hotel, for instance, there shouldn't be hundreds of people standing outside. Obviously, as soon as you go in, and normally especially now with social media, by the time even if you're going to use the bathroom, by the time you come out, there can be people there.
Was that, and how many people would have been on that operation?
5 for Michael Jackson.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we probably could have done with 1 or 2 more.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, but we had 5 of us on that. It's the only job I've done out of all those people where I've worked with other people. It was Bella Hadid, Kendall Jenner, Rita, or Naomi Campbell, Dizzy Rascal.
Oh right, yeah. But
what was a few in there? But I've always been on my own.
Have you got to meet them all directly as well?
Yeah, because it's only me and them. So yeah.
I get the impression there's a lot going on at the time, so there can sometimes be quite a lot of pressure.
Jackson was a lot going on, so you didn't really get much interaction with him. I got a little bit, but not loads. But the others, yeah, I mean, they used to get a lot of time. To be able to sort of chat as normal people, if you like.
Yeah. What was Dizzy Rascal like?
It's great. I love Dizzy. Yeah. He's just got a new album out soon, actually.
Yeah. He does.
Good.
I've been listening to him for years, to be honest with you. So.
Yeah. No, he's a really nice lad. He is. I like Dizzy.
So what happened for you after those? Like doing that line of work, is that when you started your own firm?
So I had my own firm when I was doing that, but I was still a freelance bodyguard. So like every company, I started small. We started with one small, with one 5-star hotel in Park Lane, and that's how we started the business. And then in order to build the business, I couldn't just do the business and that was it. There wasn't enough money in it. So I was still working as a bodyguard, which I did for a number of years. I went out on LPG and oil tankers doing the anti-piracy for a while as well.
Oh, wow. What was that like?
That was all right if you like being at sea.
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm all right at sea, but I'm not the best. So I did quite a few of them. I did it on and off for about a year and a half, 2 years. Because the way that worked, you could go away for 10 days, do what I used to call transit. And then you could come back and then you just go again whenever you tell the office you're free to go. So because I was trying to build the business and everything else, I'd do like maybe 1 a month. That money would give me enough money
for the whole month,
for the rest of the month
to
be able to do. Yeah, so I did that for a little while.
Was that quite a high risk job?
At times it could be. Wasn't particularly for me. I mean, we had I did a few trips without firearms. At the very beginning, and then we had firearms, most of them. One of the trips I done, we was escorted by 2 Japanese warships.
Oh wow!
So I mean, anything like that is.
So what? This was on where the oil rigs were?
No, tankers.
Tankers.
Yeah.
And you was always on the boats, like.
Yes, you jump. You get on it, say like Oman. You'd go out on a smaller vessel, jump onto the tanker, go from Oman to say Port Suez in Egypt, where it takes you through a place called the Bab el Mandeb, which runs past the coast of Somalia, and basically the coastline comes right in tight, so it channels all the ships into a certain sort of radius of. Do you know what I mean? It's every 15 minutes a ship passes through, so
things could get quite heated.
It's easy for them to attack, and there's a high volume of vessels travelling through for them to attack as well. So, so I did a lot of that. I did a little bit more down the Malacca Straits and in the Persian Gulf and that, but I did a lot of down sort of coast of Somalia way.
Yeah, incredible.
I did that. There's a lot of courses we had to do for that as well before. We had to do sea survival and ship security officers courses, and we did a firearms course. And
could you use firearms out there?
On the vessels you could. Yeah, when you're more than 12 miles out, you're in international waters.
12 miles out of
offshore.
Oh,
in
okay.
international waters.
Right,
It's not that far out, really.
Yeah.
And then you're under the jurisdiction of the flag state of the ship.
Okay.
So. Yeah.
What does that essentially mean?
Depends what ship you're on.
Yeah, does it? Different rules for different ships.
Yeah, if you're on a UK ship, British ship. A lot of the time we weren't. We were on Russian.
Oh, really?
Filipino. It just depends. It depends where they're from. I don't think I ever did a British or American ship actually.
And being a like a bodyguard, security guard over here, you can't. Can you have a firearms license?
No, you can't. Nothing in this country.
They don't let you have anything.
I mean, even you've got to be careful how you use your hands. Let alone have any sort of weapons or anything like that. Yeah, no, there's nothing like that here at all.
Yeah. I was going to say, because some of the situations you're putting yourself in still are quite high risk situations, but I don't suppose this is probably as bad as it might be like in America or in other countries. Like was here like
knife crime obviously now's gone through the roof,
yeah,
and the watch muggings and all this stuff. I don't think there's any need for bodyguards
to carry guns,
firearms. Not really.
Do you carry any? Do you have to carry?
No, we don't get anything. I mean, I do believe there could be like a few things implemented which would aid people a lot better than having nothing at all. But I don't think we're probably the police. I think should all be armed. To be honest.
Yeah,
I think the police should, but for private security, I don't think they need to be. Not at this stage. Maybe later
the statistics don't support that.
So.
It's that dangerous.
But yeah, I mean you can't have anything. You've never been able to. I don't, until all the police are armed, I don't think you'll see private security getting anything very much.
Yeah, anytime soon.
Yeah.
And when you say you got to be careful with your hands, what do you mean by that?
So essentially, you're defending. You're not attacking. Obviously, you can fight fire with fire to a certain extent. I've got to be careful what I say on this as well, because there's just been a big update to what the security industry association say you've got to do about it. So I haven't done it yet.
The regs.
I haven't done it yet. So,
yeah, you were saying.
Yeah, so I've got to be careful what I say.
Right.
But the long and short of it is open palms, don't cover any extremities of the face. Anywhere air can go in, for breathing. It is very much pushing, shoving. Obviously no punching or headbutting or use of kicking or anything like that as such. So you're very limited to even with your body what you can do, which is difficult, particularly it's not an industry I've ever really been in, but I would imagine it's difficult, particularly for nightclub bouncers when
it's kicking off.
About people, trying to fight you, bottles, glasses.
When there's alcohol.
How you're meant to do some of that stuff when you're trying to, or you could cut the big lads out of a club or whatever, I'm not sure, but luckily for me, it's never really been my game. But yeah, the guys, men and women, obviously, they're both are up against it quite a lot these days in private security, more so than people think, because they don't really get mentioned. It does happen a lot.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I can just imagine now there's probably like so much red tape. It's probably quite difficult to know what is okay and what isn't okay. But
as soon as you do anything wrong now, camera phones. I mean, the police get it themselves all the time as well, don't they? Camera phones, everything's videoed. People seem to video things more than they want to help out. It's easy to get in trouble if you're not careful, especially when you're looking after a celebrity. Because you've always got a whole mountain of paps following you around anyway. So if you get a bit overzealous, they're quite quick to snap that. Do you know what I mean? How was your security firm going? You started you obviously done the rig work, and then you started your own security firm. Yeah. So that now is still. I mean, it's quite big now. To be fair.
When did you start that?
2010.
2010, yes.
Yeah, 2010. We obviously struggled over COVID, but we've pulled everything back now, as everyone did.
Did it completely go dead? Did it?
Pretty much, COVID? Yeah. We was making enough revenue to pay for costs and to survive. Literally minimal to keep the business going, and just until the end of it all finished, really. But I mean, I don't get so involved in it all now. But people in the office do a good job back there, and obviously I still oversee everything. I'm still responsible ultimately for everything, but with all the other stuff I've got going on, I don't really have a lot of time to, or not have as much time to get involved with security now as what I used to all that time ago.
And do you still do the celebrity work, or is it?
No, I don't do anything myself at all anymore.
You don't do anything yourself.
No.
What about your firm? Does it deal with?
Yeah, they still do it. Yeah, it just depends. So jobs come in day to day. We don't have a full-time contract with celebrities,
right?
But we have contracts with companies that deal with celebrities, and and you get smaller contracts where people are coming in and out as bookkeeper when they're in and out. So we don't have sort of a 24/7 with one.
No more kind of like interview process like what it was when you first started out, where you had to go and it weren't like it's not like that.
Well, I mean, it not for me. It's not for the lads who work for me. It's because they all have to come and have an interview.
Right? So, they still have to.
So it still happens. Yeah,
it's not just based on your reputation.
No, I mean the only time, because it's difficult from now. But virtually everyone gets interviewed now, because back when I was working, I knew a lot of guys. So those guys probably wouldn't get interviewed. There'd be no point. I knew them all. I've worked with them before. I knew what I was doing. But because I've been out the scene for nearly 4 or 5 years now, I don't really know anyone who works on the circuit anymore. So because of that, everyone has to come in now and be interviewed, because they might be a really good bloke, but because I just never worked with them because I've been out there for so long. So everyone gets interviewed now. But even when we first started, most people got interviewed, but it was 1 or 2 who didn't because I've worked with them. It's it's the biggest interview you ever get to do, doing a shift with someone.
That's interesting. And you got quite a big team now. Work together.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the office is Palace Street in Victoria, so I've got 2 offices actually for it there. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And since I've kind of stepped away from it, it seems to just get bigger.
Get even bigger.
Yeah.
I think once it creates a bit of momentum and starts moving,
it's all word of mouth. All our work. We've had a little bit from sort of the odd sales campaign, but we don't really do it that much because everything we get seems to be word of mouth.
What's the firm called?
Askari Secure.
Askari Secure.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're probably you're well established now, right? After starting in 2010, that's a long stretch to be in something. So you've probably got a good, very solid foundation as a business.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's nice, we've still got some people that work for us.
Yeah.
But started from day one.
Oh, have you?
Still, with us all that time. So, it's good. It's a good solid business, which is why I'm still doing it. If it weren't for that business, I'd have nothing to do with the security industry at all now.
What involvement do you have in that?
Well, obviously being owner and just the general day to day, I just oversee everything.
Coordinate things.
Yeah.
Feeding it and making sure.
Yeah, looking for new work sometimes. Maybe still a bit tendering for the bigger companies. Tendering, I'll still get involved in because there's quite a lot of work goes into that.
You do tendering for contracts.
Yeah. So for the bigger companies, you have to tender. For smaller companies, not so much.
Yeah.
So I still do bits and pieces of that. But then also that depends on what I've got on. If I'm off doing something else and I can't get there, then I won't be doing that. Someone else has to do it. So it just depends. Yeah, I dip in and out really because I can't be everywhere at once.
I think the difficulty is as it gets to a certain size, it's like you got to feed the beast.
Yeah,
you just got to keep
I always like to keep it constantly flowing, and there's plenty of work coming in all the time. That's happening. I don't overkill myself on it because I don't need to. If anything, if we ever come up against anything and we started to struggle, then I'd rejig things and spend more time.
Yeah,
back
but
on that.
Can you normally see quite far ahead with
the
business where you're at? So you can predict the next 6 months, 8 months, a year.
Yeah, of course. And I never leave too much time away from it neither. I'm all very much about it. People don't really see me, or a lot of people don't even know they work for me probably, but that's fine. I don't need to know. I'm sort of the foundation of the business, you could argue.
Yeah. Pull all the strings. In
the background. And that's it. Yeah.
No, but I do. I mean, that when it gets to a certain size, you can't know everyone's business.
No, you can't. It's impossible. And the turnover's quite high because they're all self-employed because they only do bits and pieces, and so people come and go, and so it's difficult. But I mean, I don't need to know them all neither.
Yeah,
I'm grateful that they all work for me, but I don't need to know.
Yeah, but they're probably happy that they don't know you either.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's probably better, isn't it?
So what happened for you after your with other things you said you got going on? What do you do with your spare time?
So one of the reasons why I finished being a bodyguard because I started acting.
Okay.
So I went to school, acting school, and fully completed that.
How did it go from that to that?
It started actually quite a long time before. So back to when I was in Iraq doing those convoys. I know, yeah.
Who would have thought it?
I know, that's where the seed was set back then.
Was it?
But I kept it for another day. There was a guy there who used to run the armoury where all the weapons were kept. And the ammunition and everything else we had in these villas we was living in. And I said to him, because he was older than me, I said, what did you used to do before you was out here? Because I knew he was in the army for a long time, but I knew he'd also left the army quite a few years ago.
Right.
And he said, I was doing film work. So it was the first I've ever heard of it. I was 26 then, I think, 25, 26. So I said, what's that all about? And he said, he told me when he said, I was a military advisor on the film Troy.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I thought, right. And he told me a little bit about it. I thought, that sounds quite interesting. But I knew I wasn't ever going to be able to do anything because of where I was working and what I was doing. And I also knew it's probably quite a hard thing to get into. So I wasn't about to drop what I was doing now to go back to something that was very uncertain.
All over again.
Yeah. But he gave me a card with a phone number on it. And he said, there's a company, give these a call, they deal in film work. They'll help you out. It's all changed a bit now because... there's a lot of companies that do film stuff, but I think there's even one called Military Film Extras, I think now, that just do military guys.
Specialising in
that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't quite like that back then.
Bit more open market.
It weren't so many companies doing it sort of thing. So I got in with this company when, so he gave me the card and I put it in my bag and I forgot about it for years until I started the Dubai Royal Family job. I actually moved up to London. I was unpacking my kit, and the card fell out of my bag. I thought, oh yeah, I forgot about that, because I totally forgot all about it. Like, what was that, 3-4 years
all
later?
them years later,
yeah.
really.
And I looked at it and I googled it, and it's in Shepherd's Bush. I lived at Battersea at the time there, and I thought, oh, actually, that's only around the corner as well. So I called these people up and they said that they weren't taking anyone on until next August the following year. But if I wanted to fill all the paperwork out and everything else, just do it and give you a call next year. So I thought, I'll get all this done now and I can forget about it till next year. So I did that, and then I went in the gym about 3 weeks later. The days when I could leave my mobile phone in the locker, they're long gone. I had a voicemail on the mobile phone, and it said, "Oh, my name's Chuck. I wondered if you could fly out to Morocco on Thursday and do movie Green Zone with Matt Damon."
Really?
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
It just on the voicemail. So I thought, oh, well, that's one of the lads winding me up, because they all knew I put in for it. Right. So, I mean, I was still on the Dubai job as well at the time.
Wow.
So I Googled it again, and it was the right thing.
It was legit.
Yeah, it was right. So I was like, oh, wow. So I looked at the dates, and the fly date to go to Morocco was the last day I had with the Dubai Royal family. And I thought, and I had nothing booked in after the Dubai Royal family, because I hadn't really been looking. I thought I was going to have a bit of time off.
It all came together quite nicely.
Yeah, and I thought, I don't want to miss going out there for, I think it's 6 or 8 weeks or something like that. It was. I thought, I don't want to miss that out just because of one day on a job where we kind of finished anyway, because it was the end of the job. So I said to the people in charge on this job, what? And they went, no, you've got to go. We'll cover you for that day. Don't worry. So I thought, touch. So I went on that. Flew out, and that's when I first started.
Was that?
In Morocco.
In Morocco?
Yeah, in Rabat. We filmed in Rabat, yeah.
Wow. And did you get to meet Matt Damon?
Yeah, he was there. He wasn't there for the whole time, but he was on and off throughout a time there, yeah. And that was my first sort of experience of working on a film set. And I played a US Special Forces soldier in that.
Yeah, so you're quite familiar with it all.
I always remember we did this massive night attack, and the production had paid a whole village to move out for a month.
Wow.
Yeah, so we used all the houses. It was only outside. We didn't go inside people's houses, but we used to, like I said, it was a real village we was fighting in.
Yeah, it must have been a bit of nostalgia there, wasn't it?
Well, that's the thing. It was all blank fire in the heat, because it was Morocco. It was hot. It was all the kit and everything we had on. I felt exactly the same as I felt when I was in Iraq, but without the stress of being killed. So all the fun and the adrenaline and the excitement you get, I had all that without being killed. And at the time, that was quite a new experience to me.
You probably had the time of your life.
Yeah, I'd never felt that. I'd always felt that, plus your ass going. Do you know what I mean? So I thought this is something that I could enjoy doing later on. After that, I picked up Sherlock Holmes 2, Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, did you as well? Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, and I worked on that. Not as much as I should have. I went away. There was a gap in filming. For, I can't remember how long it was, 4 or 6 weeks or something like that, gap in film for me.
I love him as well. Like Robert Downey Jr. is a great actor,
fun.
Isn't he?
And I took one of those ship jobs. I went out on a ship for 10 days. Yeah, I thought I've got 6 weeks here, or 4 weeks, whatever it was. I'll just jump on one of them. We got stuck at sea for 6 or 7 weeks.
Did you?
Yeah.
And it should have been what?
10 days, I think. 10 or 2 weeks maximum, yeah.
What happened?
It's a whole catalogue of things breaking down, not being able to
bad
get
to worse.
It was bad, but yeah, a lot of it was bad admin. Really, it wasn't because we was getting sort of shot to bits.
Oh right, good.
Yeah. Sometimes I just dragged on. If your relief couldn't get out to we was on a gunboat, so the boat we was on, it was like a vessel just with firearms on it only. The actual thing we was looking after was separate to us.
And did you get paid for the 7 weeks?
Yeah, you get paid. You still get paid. Yeah, so I've made a bit of money out, but I missed my filming.
Your opportunity to do the film.
Yeah, so I come back. And I thought they're never going to let me work for them again, because I've started in the film, and now you can't, And I explained the situation, because when you're at sea, you haven't really got any communications. You can't tell people what you're doing and where you are.
Sound like a good.
And they obviously, luckily, they believed me. Yeah. And they put me on near the end of the movie again.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, so it would have been quite a nice one for me if I could have done it all, but I didn't. I did sort of half of it.
Yeah. What was your role in it?
I played one of Moriarty's henchmen.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I'll look out for you next time I watch it.
Yeah, it's a good job. I enjoyed that. It was all filmed in the UK, Chatham Dockyard, and somewhere in Oxford we did. But and then obviously doubling for Dave Bautista in Final Score.
Really?
Yeah.
How did that come around?
That's another one I nearly didn't do. I was.
You got stuck out.
That's the same company who gave me the green zone. Actually, they hadn't called me for a long time, and I was down in Brighton. I'd gone down. I was living in London, but I went down to Brighton to visit some friends from like home who'd moved there, and was out one night. And I just got down to Brighton, had my first drink, and I was staying in a hotel, and they rang me up. This guy rang me up, and I can't remember. He said, "Will you come up and do a double job?" I didn't say who it was. And I said, when is it? He says, tomorrow at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I said, I can't, I'm in Brighton. And I thought, I'm having a drink now. I can't drink now. I'm not going to be able to drive back. If I have one more drink, I can't drive back. And we was having a meal as well at the time. And he said, you sure you can't do it? I said, no, sorry, mate, I can't do it. I said, if I was in London, I would have done it for you, but I'm in Brighton, I can't do it. Really sorry. All right, you sure you can't do it? Yeah. Put the phone down. And in my head, I was thinking, cool, he seemed quite keen, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we carried on eating, and he texted me, I really need you to go and do this, because of my size and measurements.
Really, you was perfect.
They obviously were limited to who they could, put on it.
And you was a body double.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, so a body double is...
the way it works, so long story short, I accepted the job. Turned up, and it was obviously Dave Bautista. So I had his costume, which was all far too big for me. I don't really.
So you had to put on a.
You have to wear exactly the same as what he wears. And long and short, it's normally done for reshoots where he doesn't need to be there, for a cheaper option quite often. But also setting up camera angles and setting up scenes. It's a lot of work that goes into setting up things before the actor even starts, obviously. So, but sometimes they need to see where the actor's going to be and what they're doing to be able to set the camera distances and everything else up. So there's a lot of that. So it's not as exciting as.
So you never got to meet him?
No, because he wasn't there. Because otherwise, there's no point me being there. Yeah. But
did it pay well?
The pay was better.
Was it
for that? Yeah, and you kind of get the same treatment that he gets. Because you get the same caravan, and you get the same hair and makeup girls, and you get the same. Yeah, you get the same everything.
You get treated like Dave Bautista for
I had a car, I think, on that job.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they picked me up and dropped me off on that one. So, yeah, I mean that was. I didn't do the whole movie. I only did some reshoots for him, but yeah, I mean that was in terms of sort of film and acting. It was a good insight for me. That was, and that was probably around that time. Then that's when I thought I'm going to pursue this a lot more. I've done a little bit of UK TV, different series, McMafia and what was it called? Cuckoo's Calling or something. BBC Strike, Cuckoo's Calling or something. I can't remember. I'm really bad with TV. I don't watch it. But
you don't watch TV?
No. Really? I watch a bit of Netflix and Prime, but I don't watch normal TV.
Yeah, so I'm the same actually.
Yeah. News and all the rest of that's nonsense.
Yeah, stay away from it.
Yeah, happier life. So then that's when I decided I wanted to finish being a bodyguard. I did the same thing I did back in Afghanistan. What do I want to do next? Don't we know what I want to do? And another mate said to me, well, you said you want to be an actor, why don't you do that?
Yeah.
Again, another hard thing to get into, you know what I mean?
Yeah, fair play to
and that's how it started. I went to acting school, and I got offered a film first, actually, with Nicolas Cage.
Did
in
you?
the States, quite a nice part as well.
Some good opportunities there.
Yeah, that's from a producer, a good friend of mine now. He's ex-Navy SEAL, who's now a film director and producer out in the States. Yeah. And he directs now for, I think it's called SEAL Team 6, which is a massive series out in the States, and he's the director on some of those series.
Amazing.
So I'll still keep in touch with him, but he offered me a nice little part. It's something what was going on back at the time. Because of COVID, it destroyed it all. And it was finished up. But that's when I thought, right, someone's given me the opportunity to do something really good here. I need to get to school and I need to sort myself out.
Invest in yourself.
And just not only, if someone gives me something, the chance to do that is, it's a unique chance.
Opportunity,
that's the word, yeah. So I wanted to make sure that not only, I didn't want to let him down, for starters, for putting his belief in that I could do it, 100%. But also didn't want to let myself down, that old chestnut, let yourself down, let your family down. But also I wanted to make sure that I did a good enough job to be able to use that, to be able to do more of it. Do you know what I mean? So...
you saw the opportunity in front of you.
And just you have to use that in order to move on, to make that into a bigger thing. A bit like the Bodyguard work in the early days, you've got to really exploit and use every ounce of what you can get out of that job. And me just turning up, been a civvy and not an actor, if you like.
Yeah.
You know, it's not. Wouldn't have been a good move. So I went to acting school and learned all the fundamentals of acting.
Where's that?
I went to Pinewood Studios, Actors Studio.
I've been to Pinewood Studios.
Have you? Yeah, I did the masterclass there with Tim Kent. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, really good, really good. Yeah, it's month long. So because of my age, you know, 3 years at performing arts school, a lot of singing and dancing, it was never going to be my thing, you know what I mean? But there are still other good courses out there you can do, particularly for screen acting. Theatre I've never really done. So, you know,
I don't know if I've got the bottle, but I used to do a lot of it as well when I was a kid as well.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so we actually done some filming at Pinewood Studios when I was younger.
Okay,
for like a TV
commercial.
Long time ago now. But I used to love it.
I did one job as an actor at Pinewood Studios for some American movie, and I had to do a lineup when I got it. I didn't get chosen actually, but
didn't you?
Yeah. I remember.
You're still in the environment.
Exactly, still getting that. And that's what I used to do, and that's what I've done with everything I do. Really, get around it as much as you can, as often as you can, even if it's not in the position that you want to be in.
Yeah,
that's the only way.
Anything can happen though.
Yeah,
can't
it can. Right? Yeah, and even if it doesn't, you'll still start seeing windows of opportunity where you can make things happen. So I mean, if you're not sat at home dreaming about it or just watching it on Instagram, it's not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah, 100%.
If you want to start working at Pinewood Studios, take the next cleaning job.
Yeah.
Because what will happen then, and every internal vacancy what comes up, you'll hear of it straight away because you're already working for the system. You know, anything like that.
I remember I was listening to Brad Pitt recently on some interview, and he was an extra for a film. This was before he was even famous, and he said, "I really wanted to like push the boundaries and try my luck with this role to like a scene he was doing. So he wanted to go outside of the script, and so he gave it a shot, and he got completely shot down. And the director was like, "If you do that again, you're off the set." But if you don't like push the boundaries a little bit,
I on the Green Zone, it's quite funny actually. I got caught so it's not that funny, but. We had a scene where I was working with a friend of mine out there as well. He got the job as well at the same time, older guy, and we'd gone at it together. And the rest of all the other people weren't, so all Americans from RAF somewhere in the UK. It was all Americans. I can't remember the name of it now. But they're all Americans. It's me and a friend of mine. We were 2 British guys. And so obviously, you know, we was together and everything. He did security as well. I didn't know him at the time from security, but he did the same sort of work as me.
Right.
And we was on set, and I can't remember how it turned out, but it turned out I was in a position, but I wasn't in costume.
Right.
I was still in my normal gear. And no one had told me to get changed.
Oh.
So I thought I was going to stay like this. But when it got to a stage where between me and him, we was having a bit of laugh about it, because we thought any minute now someone's going to tell you to go and get changed. But it got to a stage where we thought, do you know what, let's just see if I can do this whole scene in my normal clothes.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they managed to film it. That was nothing.
No, so we did it, and literally just about before we was about to start filming, everyone's all set up. We'd even done a couple of dry run-throughs, like you know, rehearsals to make sure everybody was doing what they should be doing. We did all that, and then the wardrobe director, head of wardrobe, walked through the whole of the thing. He looked at me and gone, "What's that? That's not a costume that I've picked out in the last 6 months or whatever." And I had to go and get changed quickly and get back on set. So I got caught.
It took a while for them to. It must have been quite a good crack, to be fair. Especially you being on the scene with your friend as well. So,
yeah, it's stress-free as well. All you've got to do is what you're told to do.
Yeah.
If you can't do that, it's probably not going to be for you. You know, especially when it comes to being in front of the camera and being an actor, you have to hit your points, you have to hit your marks. And you know, the director of a movie is called a director for a reason. He directs or she directs for a movie, not just to keep to the storyline, but you know, the individual directs the actors, because what they can see is different to what you can see as an actor. So although a lot of the time you'll get it right, the more you act and the more professional you are, but there are things that it doesn't matter. You got to remember, it doesn't matter what you think is right, it's what the director and the script wants to see. So you need to be able to take direction well, and you also need to be able to take getting it wrong well, because although essentially it's not wrong, but it's not the way they want you to do it. So you haven't done anything wrong, but it's not how you perceived it differently to how they wanted. So you got to be
constructiveness. Though,
yeah,
right?
yeah. You just got to get on with it, swallow it, and do what. And if someone says, "I want you to sit there and touch that," that's all I do. Whereas some people make a mistake of sitting there touching that and then touching that. I didn't tell you to do that, did I?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? No, but I thought it would be better if I touched that as well. No, because. No, you know what I mean? That camera's not picking that up, that's not seeing that, and that's,
follow it down to a
So if
T.
you're good with direction and doing things right and, and listening. And,
well, was it a bit like that in the army, though, would you say?
I'm great.
Did you relate to that?
Yeah, I think I'm very good. I've always been told all my acting classes. I've just finished acting school again only a few weeks ago. I did a screenfighting qualification. So it's always an ongoing thing, and I'm always told I'm always good with direction.
Right.
And I feel like I am as well. I don't always get things right first time. No. Sometimes I could be shocking, but with the right direction, I pick up direction very, very well quickly. And very quickly. Yeah.
And that's important anyway. When you say you ain't worried about making a mistake, that's like for anything you want to do in life to be successful in, you got to be prepared to make mistakes over and over again. So it's just always about. Pushing the boundaries, as I was saying earlier.
For me, bearing in mind where my career started, death, being killed was the worst what's going to happen. Yeah. That's what I think about everything now, is what's the worst what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I never get that in my head. I never think I'm going to be killed.
Can't compare the two,
no,
can you?
So I just think, just get on with it. I'm going to go red, I'm going to be embarrassed, I'm not going to want to come here again, I'm not going to want to tell anyone what I've done. All those things, it's harmless. All of them are harmless. It's your own ego that's got to get over that. Do you know what I mean? No one else. And a lot of the time when people get embarrassed about things, other people in the room don't care. They might not even notice. It's only you that's got a thing about it, for whatever reason. Do you know what I mean? So,
and it's that ego.
It's ego. And the other thing with acting as well, you've got to remember could be as many as 80 people around that camera, in the area watching what you're doing. But professional film people, whether they're cameramen, whether they're sound, the grips, the electric carpenters, whatever, I don't know the right names for these people. But whatever they're doing, they're busy doing what they're doing. They're not really. It's not a pantomime where they're sitting there watching. Do you know what I mean? They're just waiting for you to do what you've done and get on to the next thing. So all these people they don't care if you get it wrong. It's not the only person who cares if you get it wrong. Director.
Yeah,
time is money, and all the rest of it keep getting messed around. But the rest of the cast and crew, they're not really looking at what you're doing.
It's funny though, isn't it? We've got this internal self-importance sometimes.
You assume everyone's going to be standing there looking at
watching you.
They've all got their own jobs to think about and things to do, and
and
they've got radios on that they have to talk to people. There's plenty of stuff going on for them not to be going, see what you did then. Don't work like that. Right. Don't work like that. And all the best actors, they don't get everything right straight away.
Nah, you've got to be prepared to make mistakes.
Quite often, there's some good ones. You could go through maybe quite a lot of stuff where it don't put foot wrong, but then one day they suddenly do. You know what I mean? You can't.
Yeah,
and then
they'll probably have a breakdown. The thing is, some people are so perfectionists that when
you can't have it a little bit.
It's like turmoil when something goes a little bit wrong.
That's my biggest thing, I think, for acting. Just do as I'm told. If you do as I'm told, then I haven't got it. I won't get it wrong.
It sounds like you're having some fun while doing it as well. So that's
I try to do that with everything I do.
Yeah, it's important. You've got to enjoy it. So have you? And so since the Dave Bautista thing, we've obviously had the strikes going on. Which has had a massive impact on the film industry. Yeah. I suppose is it starting to slowly build back up?
It is now, so I'm hoping next year to get some sort of involvement in States back again,
right?
And do something.
Is that your long-term plan?
Do something out there. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'd like to do one or two just to get a feel for how it goes. I haven't done one out there yet. Everything I've done is UK. I think I've got one next year, UK film, possibly two, but the second one might roll into 25, depending on how long I take to film. So that'd be quite nice, but I'd like to try and squeeze a little bit of US presence next year.
That's the kind of aim, the vision.
Yeah, I've got the opportunity. The opportunity's there. It's just at the right time, like I said, because of the actors' strike, I've lost about 8 or 9 months, I think.
Yeah, a lot of people have. Yeah, to be fair. But it sounds like you had a bit of momentum before, so I suppose just putting yourself in these situations that present itself.
Yeah. I mean, in the States, where I lost was COVID, and then the strike. It's been a bit lose there, but I've still got my same contacts. I still keep in touch with everyone.
Brilliant.
And the offers are sort of in the distance, if you like, there now, because things are starting getting back to normal. So I'm hoping, but again, I have to be careful of that as well, because obviously with the clothing, the security company.
Well, we ain't spoke about the clothing yet.
No, we haven't. Yeah.
What's the clothing?
So Simon Newton London, simonnewtonlondon.com is
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
So that's a new project.
It is new, yeah. We started with a line of bomber jackets. I got a T-shirt on. You can't buy these, unfortunately, but not yet. No, I've got 3 bomber jackets come out, which are, and I'm going to say this because it's my product, but the quality is amazing, really, to be honest. And
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's turned out. I think it actually turned out a lot better than what I thought it was going to do in the first place. I put a team together again for that.
What made you start the clothing brands?
Years ago, when I used to look after Bella Hadid, I was covered in Vogue, I think, for being the real star of London Fashion Week.
Did you?
Yeah, just because I was with her. No one knew who I was back then, the sort of thing. But
that was your 5 minutes of fame.
And I was always, and then after that, I got loads of magazines and newspapers and everything else kept picking up on me every time I worked with Bella. So, and quite often I had a bomber jacket on, made by another company. I'm not going to say who they are.
It's all about SNL at the minute.
And I just said one day I'm going to make my own. Because this company did a whole range of them, but I didn't like most of them. Nothing wrong with them, just weren't for me. I just made my own. Just thought it's got everything, I think's nice, and it looks, classy, and you can wear it in the evening and in the daytime, depending on what else you wear it with. We've gone for red quilted lining instead of the old orange, which orange is the official, because obviously it is a flight, or it was a flight. It originated from being a flight jacket.
Oh, right, yeah, so an aviator.
Yeah, so the pilots, obviously, if they crash landed or whatever else, they could turn the jacket inside out and it'd have the orange on the outside. That's where the orange originally come from.
Right.
But yeah, I've gone for red. A lot of Prada and Gucci, the higher end fashion, have gone the odd one with red for like £2,500 a jacket. 2,000 for 1,500 quid. I saw one the other day because I look at them all now to see where my price range is coming in at, and they're all like 1,100 quid and £1,000. Philip Klein, he's got some for 25 grand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's incredible.
So
you're just paying for the brand then, aren't you?
Yeah, because how good can a jacket be? And I wanted to try and get a Gucci feel for a middle market price tag.
Right, okay.
Do you know what I mean? So you're not paying 800 or 900 quid for even a Moncler or something like that. It's 200. I think they're 249 at the moment because of. I think they've got a Christmas deal on at the moment.
Yes, that's a nice middle place anyway.
Yeah, so it's not super cheap, and it's not super expensive neither. And we've got a whole load of stuff we're running out. We're trying to get the T-shirts, polo shirts, which are going to be slightly different just to normal. Was just a T-shirt and a polo shirt. They'll be slightly different. Various bits we're going to change on them, so it just looks a bit nicer. Yeah. And then tracksuit. We're going to do tracksuit next, I think.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't know how you balance all your time, by the way, by doing all these things. Like, because you got the next big acting role that comes along is going to kind of like put a big spanner in there.
It's funny, as well, because I always thought that in the early days with film, and to do a film, actually, unless you're a lead actor, which obviously at my stage I won't be, not in a big film, it doesn't take that much time up. Actually doing a film.
Does it? Oh, it doesn't.
Not really. No, a couple of weeks.
Yeah, right.
Really,
fair.
because you might not be there for the whole film, or you might do a couple of weeks and you might come back in a month and do another week or two or something.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? It's very, very rare, but you won't it's not like an 8 month straight thing or anything. I mean, to film a feature film now, particularly in UK with the UK independent filmmakers, I think 5 or 6 weeks.
Right, yes. So it's not,
and that's if you're on the whole thing.
The whole thing?
That's if you're on the whole film.
Yeah.
Obviously, editing and all the other stuff that goes with it takes a lot longer, but...
Yeah, that's...
So, I might only do 4 or 5 days filming for a film like that or something. So, although what actually is a big achievement and a big thing, isn't that much time.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And would you get paid for the full amount of time?
Normally you get day rate, yeah.
Yeah, day rate, yeah. Because I remember previously, regardless of if we filmed or not, you'd still get paid for showing up. And
if you turn up and that, and you know you're not needed or something, then
you still get.
But you find when you're sort of actors aren't cheap, and even at a lower end. I mean, obviously, someone like me, because I've only just started, I don't cost that much, but it still costs money. So people don't want to waste book you, and they don't need you, sort of thing.
So you got an exciting life ahead of you then.
I've got a lot coming up next year with the clothing and with the filming, but also that means probably the security company will just carry on growing alongside. I'm quite happy with the security company at the moment. It does what it wants to, what it should be doing. As far as I'm aware, all the customers are happy, the guys are happy, the office is happy.
Well, they'll soon know. You'll soon know about it first.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. They're not shy on telling me. Don't worry about that.
That's it.
But if everything's growing as it should, and I seem to be around it all, the right measure. I'm not sort of not around something enough. I'm around everything just enough at the moment. What I would say is I can't do any more.
Yeah. You're filling up.
I feel like I can manage everything to the level it needs managing by me. With what I've got now, if I was to do any more, I think
Well, I mean, that Hollywood role might come sooner rather than later.
I can still fit that in.
yeah, exactly.
I'll make sure I can.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, Simon, it's been an absolute pleasure to hear your story today. I thank you for coming on.
Thanks, mate.
It's been brilliant, and I look forward to seeing what the future holds for you, pal.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll see you soon.
Yeah, cheers.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks.